You're watching Are You Bored? The show that started out on FM radio is now here on whatever you're watching it on. And in today's episode, we're talking to Bruno from Serious Poulp. Well, today I'm with Bruno from Serious Poulp, and he's going to tell us a bit about his upcoming Kickstarter game, aren't you, Bruno?
Yes, well, the Kickstarter's just over last week.
Yeah.
So now it's about bringing it to our bakers. We had 33,000 bakers for this one.
Hey, well, that's not bad,
And
is it?
yeah, no, it was a good run. It's just finished like last Thursday. So now the game, you can get the game as a late pledge option.
Yeah.
The Kickstarter is just finished and we are
So
now
what?
working on the game itself.
So
Finishing it.
what's the game about?
Well, the game's called Citadel. It's a new board game of exploration and adventure in an original medieval fantasy world we've created. It's a game we've released after releasing a game that's called The Seventh Continent that we also did on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
It was also an exploration board game, but more about exploration and survival. It was one of the first game of this kind where you basically, as you play, you unveil the board game with numbered cards, just like in the fighting fantasy game books. You people in UK, I guess you've heard of them.
Yeah, yeah.
And we've replaced the chapters, the numbered chapters of the books with numbered cards that represent areas, some terrain cards that are going, when you put them together, just like a puzzle, it's going to build a gigantic board on which you're going to move your character figure.
From what I've heard of people that have played the game, it's a real world building game. It's like this vast world opens up in front of them, and it's amazing how you've just done that by cards. It's just like a big box of cards, and then they lay them out and these adventures, and it is quite original. So you've had lots of good feedback about that, haven't you?
Yeah, the game's been quite popular for the last 2 years. We delivered in 2017. The game came with a core box, and then we made expansion for a total of about 2,000 cards now.
Yeah.
You start with one card. That's where your journey begins, and then you start unveiling the board. So if you go north, you are going to take card 132, for instance. If you go east, you will take card 84, and then from now on, you are going to perform actions, unveil stuff. And you played in Seventh Continent Cursed Explorers, and tried to get rid of this curse in the early 20th century in a mysterious cursed continent. And Seventh Citadel is a new game that uses the same exploration system, but we've changed a lot of stuff, especially it's more about adventure, less about survival now. Everybody has their own action deck, and you can talk to people with a dialogue book and stuff like that. It's a new adventure for us as well.
Is it set in the same world, or is it a brand new world?
Well, it's a brand new world. It's a post-apocalyptic medieval fantasy world.
Yeah.
In which you play slave gardeners. You work for bad necro druids who are trying to fight against gigantic worms that are eating the world from behind. And when the game starts, you are at like it's a key moment in the history of the world, and you are going to be part of it. But I won't say too much in order not to spoil, because the pleasure of discovery is in exploration and discovery and surprises.
That's it. So I was going to say, what projects have you got coming up? But if you can't talk too much about those, if the top secret, something that you're working on now.
What we can say, it's a 1 to 4 player board game. It's a cooperative game, so you can play solo, you can play with friends, up to 4 players together as a team.
Yeah.
In which each is going to play a single character that he chooses to customize to make him more efficient with the sword or with arcane stuff, or at doing lockpicking or invoking creatures to help him. And as you go, you will play for the game can be played in about 1,000 minutes, so that's about 16 hours. But there is a saving system, just like in video games, that allows you to basically pause the game when you want. For instance, you need to go dinner, you just save the game, get rid of everything on the table, and then after having your dinner, you can go back to play again, because it's like 30 seconds to get it out of the table and 30 seconds to play again. from where you saved it.
That's a good thing, because really some of the games they can have quite a big build up and tear down time, can't they? So something like this, you can just get your cards out, bang, off you go, and you're playing the
Yes.
game. So
Yes.
would you say
We've tried to.
would you say there
We've
was
tried
much?
to make the. Sorry.
Yeah, go on. Would you say there was much replayability in the game, or is it just like once you've got the missions, that's
No, it's an open world. So basically, you can achieve things doing very different ways.
yeah,
Would you say Oblivion or Skyrim, or is there replayability in those games? One, of course, you have the main story, but then there are lots of side quests, lots of stuff you can see. Now, for Seventh Continent, for instance, we have people who've played, let's say, 7, 8 curses, which is like about 100 hours of game, and they still find new stuff they ignored, they haven't heard of in the previous games, because there are lots of hidden stuff in it, lots of small surprises, Easter eggs, and so it's hard to see everything at once. The game is not meant for you to explore everything at once.
So they're really getting the money's worth with this, aren't they? Basically, someone that's buying it.
Well, I think so, yes. When it's a value, time spent, pleasure, it's what you're looking for. Yeah, I guess it is, yes.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not like a legacy game where they have to rip the cards up and stuff like that. They've got that.
No,
Yeah, that's one good
not
thing.
at all. We don't destroy the components in the game.
No. So what was I going to say now? Have you noticed with like the pandemic that people are buying more of the solo player board games?
Yes, and board games in general and puzzles as well. Yeah, we've seen that, because Seventh Content, we are selling it on our website, on our online shop. We are the only one to sell it, and we've noticed that during, especially when people were at home, like in March, April, people were purchasing more board games, not only from us but other publishers as well. Yeah, because it's back to being with your family together, playing games. And with modern board game, we have now the opportunity to bring new, interesting games to families who still think that Monopoly or Risk or Cluedo are the like normal board games. But it's a world where there are now lots of new stuff, very interesting and very good games out there. And when you start digging out, you find that, my God, there is this huge universe, lots of games available.
Well, we found that out. You just start on like a few, and then next minute it can expand. And I can see how some people, their houses get taken over by board games. So
yes.
You can see how
especially because it's a really good hobby. It allows you not to be in front of a screen. You are with other people you don't necessarily know. It's great to teach kids about stuff like thinking by themselves or elaborating complex strategies or learning about history, or it's a very useful hobby. And depending on the kind of experience you want, either if you want to role play, or if you want to have fun, or if you want to think, to try to be the best at the table, there are games for each of these needs.
And I think it's more relaxing than video games as well.
Video games are different. It's a more individual experience. Even if you play with someone with the mic and you're talking to the person online, when it comes to board games, it's a shorter experience. And if you fail, you can start all over again and improve the next time you play. And it's a really positive hobby.
Well, it's been very interesting talking to you, Bruno. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, Stuart. Thank you very much.